Am I the asshole because I didn't tell my roommates I own the house and letting them evict themselves? I, F28, own a house. I wish I didn't because I inherited it from my grandmother whom I would prefer to have back. It is an older house in a mature neighborhood in my city. It has a huge yard, a garden, and a detached garage large enough for a couple of cars and an RV. It also has an in-law suite where I live. I started living there when I started university and I love it. My exit leads to the backyard and my garden. After the estate was all settled I was left with a little money and a fully paid-off house. I am the baby of all the cousins and I was an oops baby. I am 17 years younger than the next youngest. I decided that I would keep living in my area and just take on short-term renters to help me cove expenses. I also planned to allow any of my nieces and nephews who went to school in my city live with me. So far only my one nephew has, and he was well behaved and moved out when he finished school. I found a couple that wanted the entire upper floor for 1 year while they got settled from moving across the country for work. No big deal. I have 3 nibblings graduating the next year and only one might go to school in my city. So I let my property manager set up a 1-year lease. My city does not have a minimum rental increase. This is important. So after 6 months the problems start. The wife got pregnant. And they like the house. They have not found a house they want to buy. They want to keep living here. But they don't want a roommate. So one day the husband catches me and says that he has talked to the property manager about renting the entire house and that I might want to start looking elsewhere for a place to live. I check with my guy and yup, he wants the whole house. So I talk to my lawyer because I don't want any problems. As long as the increase is 1 year after tenancy and I give 3 months notice, there is literally no limit on the rental increase. So I tell my property manager to raise the rent for the ground level 50%. They have 5 months notice of a rental increase, so I am in the clear. Now I can hear them fighting about having to find a new place. Which I don't get because I was clear in the lease that it was only for 1 year. And I gave them a good price because they had excellent credit and rental history. The real estate market in my city isn't crazy. They should be able to find something to buy in time. Or at the very least somewhere else to rent. I have talked to my parents about this and they said I'm being sort of mean. I don't think I am. I have a plan for my home and it does not involve me moving out. I have a garden that I worked with my grandmother my entire life. I have a yard with raspberry bushes my grandfather planted for his kids and grandkids. My dog likes having a yard to play in. I could have told them it's my home, but it's not their business. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. When the husband told you to start looking, he told you exactly what he'd do if the roles were reversed. He'd kick you to the curb. Funny that they did not even respect your seniority and wanted to kick you out of the house you occupied beforehand. You can get rid of them with no guilt. Also, the fact that she's pregnant is of no importance here. She can manage her stress by herself. Not your problem. Edit. Wow, thank you everyone for all the awards and points and stuff. I didn't expect my comment to have such impact. Am I the asshole for not inviting the next-door neighbor girl to our backyard party? We live on a block filled with kids. Every now and then I like to get a bounce house and throw a little backyard party for them. I threw another one last week. I want my sons to have good memories with his neighbor kid friends because they all go to different schools. I told the parents about the party and that was lieu of an invite. I didn't invite the 8-yo girl who lives next door. Why? My fucking god, she screams over everything. It's not even a scream. It's ear-piercing screeching. I cannot stand it. I can tune out the loud sounds from my 7 and 9-yo boys and their friends, but not that girl's screaming. It's like she sees a bug, she screams. She thinks someone is chasing her, she screams. She jumps off a swing, she screams. I'm pretty sure it's for attention, but I can't spend my Saturday listening to it in my backyard. Like I'd end up yelling at her and I don't want to do that or come across like an angry dad. Her parents did ask me if something was wrong because she wasn't invited. I bluntly told them that I just can't take the screaming. They said she's no more louder than any other kid. No, she's much louder. I told them I didn't want to discuss it any further. If and when she can stop her screaming, then I'll be more than happy to invite her to my backyard parties. They were deeply offended. I'm not looking for suggestions to abate her screaming or possible explanations to her screaming. I just don't want to hear it or be around it. Not the asshole. It's your backyard and your party. If you don't want to invite someone, you don't have to. Not the asshole, her parents are the asshole here. It sucks for the kid. But maybe this will wake mom and dad up to real-life consequences of not setting behavioral boundaries for their child. Letting kids scream constantly, aside from being inconsiderate to everyone else in earshot, is just plain bad parenting and unsafe. 8 years old is third grade for most kids. That's definitely old enough to be taught basic limits, and the reasoning of screaming is for emergency situations only. Am I the asshole because I won't cover for a guy at work who says we aren't friends? I'm 27, I'm a single dad. My son is 3, and his mom isn't in the picture. This summer it just happened that both sets of grandparents were out of town and I had to take a week of PTO to chill with my son. No problem, I loved it. When I got back to work, however, there was a bunch of stuff that didn't get done by my work partner. He and I have very different lifestyles. He still spends his weekends partying and having fun with his boys. I work and take care of my son. He was too busy to do it. He has been with the company for 18 months and before that I did both jobs for over a year. Doing a couple of extra things would have added an hour or two to a pretty slack week. Sorry man, I had my own stuff and it's not like we are friends, it's fine. I literally got caught up in the first day and went on with work. Now he is scheduled to go to a work event out of state. It is an excellent opportunity for him to network and get better at his job. I've been a few times and it is a little boring but overall a good experience and helpful. However, now his girlfriend's family has rented a place for a really cool sounding golf vacation. Her dad has even arranged tee times at a couple of courses that are on the PGA Tour. He is invited but it overlaps with the work thing. I could go, and cover our work remotely, and still do the schmoozing. But I don't really want to. It would mean a week away from my son. And getting his grandparents to watch him for a week. So I said I didn't want to go. So he either has to go or quit. He has vacation time but he didn't book it because of the work thing. He says I'm an asshole because I am keeping him from a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I just don't want to help out someone who has specifically not helped me because we aren't friends. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I would provide him with precisely the same level of consideration that he provided you. Sorry man, I have my own stuff and it's not like we are friends. And if a golf vacation is his idea of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, then I suspect it's not like he and I would ever be friends either. Not the asshole. Op and coworkers were not friends, even before the week off to take care of the kid happened, that's obvious. The comment, "No, I couldn't help you out cause I'm busy and we are not friends," was unnecessary, and it was intentional, it meant to hurt. Coworker knew it was a jerk comment, and said it anyways. I'd help someone I'm not friends with, if I can, why not? But help a person that deliberately is a jerk to me? Hell no. Ain't nobody got time for that. Coworker is an aw. Is time he enjoys the consequences of his own actions. Am I the asshole for not inviting my stepsister to my son's baptism after what she did at my wedding? I, 32 female, married my husband, 33 male, 2 years ago, and we just had our first child together. We had a fairly intimate wedding and only invited a select few people, close family and friends. My parents divorced when I was 20 and my dad remarried when I was 25. His new wife has a daughter, Kelly, who's 26. I've lived in a different country since I graduated from university, so I've only met Kelly on a handful of occasions and we're not close. However, I included her in the invite list because she's part of my dad's family. On my wedding day, Kelly showed up in a pure white cocktail dress. It was extremely over the top, think mid-thigh slit, plunging neckline. Very much a draw attention to yourself type of dress. Even ignoring the color, it was super inappropriate as we got married in a church. On the day itself, I decided to just ignore it and make the most of my day, but that didn't stop members of my family and my husband's family asking me who she was and if I'd given her permission. It was just unnecessary drama, and while it didn't spoil the wedding, it certainly tainted it a little. I spoke to my dad about it afterwards and he told me that he hadn't realized what she was going to wear until they got to the church. She traveled separately, or he'd have told her not to. He said he'd spoken to her about it, and she said that she didn't realize it would be inappropriate to wear white because the wedding was in a different country. We got married in France and I refuse to believe she genuinely thought the rules on wedding attire are drastically different here. Anyway, we've just sent out invitations for our son's baptism and this time, I didn't include Kelly on the invite to my dad and his wife. He called me to ask if it was an oversight, and I said no, it wasn't. I didn't want her there after what she did at my wedding. It was embarrassing and I didn't want my son's baptism to be tainted the same way. My dad's wife is very upset and has stated clearly that if she's not invited, none of them will be going. It puts my dad in a tough position, but I don't want her there. Am I the asshole for not allowing her to come? Not the asshole. Your stepsister knew what she was doing. She's an attention seeker and your dad should grow a spine. If he doesn't attend the baptism, that's on him, not you. Tell your dad it is fine if his wife chooses her daughter, but if he doesn't choose his and lets his wife control him to the point he misses this occasion, then not to expect to be included in the future either, because you are absolutely not going to be controlled or threatened by his wife. Not the asshole. Quick edit to say thank you for the awards. You too kind smile. Not the asshole. You can invite who you want. No one gets to tell you otherwise. Everyone knows that no one can wear white to a wedding except the bride. There are exceptions, but only if the bride communicates it in advance. When the bride wears a dress color other than white and she tells her guests to wear another color other than that one. If you want to be petty, you could do the same to her if she ever gets married.